In this video, we're going to go over different types of hinging movements, movements such as deadlifting or good mornings, where your body is creating a hinging type of movement. Think of your body as two sides of a door, where the hip crease is the hinge and the top half of your body is one door and the bottom half of your body is another door. As you are hinging, you are closing the doors and you are opening the doors. Closing the hinge, opening the hinge. When you go into this hinging position, as your hip crease folds, the muscles of your backside, your posterior chain, such as your glutes and hamstrings and even a bit of your lower back, will start to stretch like a rubber band. And when you open the hinge and contract and squeeze those muscles, so you're shortening your glutes, shortening your hamstrings, shortening the muscles of your lower back, this is what allows your muscles to stretch and grow. Now with hinging movements, we focus on that fold of the hip crease first to initiate the movement. We are going to keep our knees passive just for the first portion of the lift in order to emphasize the work in the backside. If we start bending the knees immediately, we're going to be placing a lot more work on our quads and the front of our legs. And we want to make sure that we're recruiting the glutes, recruiting the muscles of the backside first as we're hinging. If you have your PVC pipe or broomstick, this is a great drill to teach you how to hinge while keeping your spine neutral, because we want to make sure that as we're folding, we're not allowing the shoulders and the back to round, but we are maintaining a neutral back, a straight line from the head, shoulders, and the hips. You're going to take your stick and you're going to place it against the back of your head, between your shoulder blades and against your tailbone, and you're going to set your stance about hip distance apart. Now we did this drill when we learned about bracing and how to breathe when under load. So we're going to do the same drill here, where we're going to close off a little bit of that gap behind the lower back by pulling our ribs and our pubic bone towards each other, flattening that back, breathing in and holding as we push out air on all sides. And now with a soft bend in the knee, so you don't want to lock the knees out, you want a soft bend in the knee, you're going to push your butt back as far as you're able to maintain all those 3 points of contact. Now you want to be aware if you are rounding your back and the bar starts to come off your tailbone. That's usually the most common error that people will get in this position, where it might be limited by hamstring flexibility. If your hamstrings are really tight, you might find that you're only able to get to a certain point before that tailbone comes off. So you're going to go as far down as you are able to, pushing your butt back, and you're going to get to a point where your butt can't go back any further. And that point, you're going to squeeze your butt to stand up, keeping those ribs down. Now, if you keep the ribs down, that's going to help you keep that bracing, that engaging of the abs, rather than allowing the chest to flare open and that gap of the lower back to have that space. So practice this drill a few times. Little bend in the knee, push the butt back, fold, and then stand by squeezing your butt and pulling the ribs down to finish the movement. So your shoulders, hips, and feet are all stacked on top of each other. Notice how this motion is different from a squat, where your hips and knees are bending simultaneously to start the movement. Most hinging movements usually involve having a weight below us and pulling the weight up to either hip level or shoulder level. There are a couple movements where the weight is positioned in a different spot, such as in a good morning, which is an exercise to help train your back and hamstring strength a bit more. However, you will see hinging in most movements such as deadlifts, where we're picking a weight up off the ground and bringing it to our hips. Or perhaps a more dynamic or explosive movement such as the dumbbell snatch or the kettlebell swing. In this course, we're going to cover 4 different movements that involve hinging. We're going to go over the conventional deadlift, the sumo deadlift, an accessory movement called the Romanian deadlift, and also another accessory called the good morning. They say that the muscles in the front are for show and the muscles in the back are for go. And when you do deadlifts correctly and efficiently, it actually reduces the stress on your lower back in day-to-day life activities and allows your glutes and hamstrings to take over more of the work, allowing you to thrive with less back pain and the ability to do more things.